Hello government students. Sorry I can't be with you today, but this video will help you get started with what you're supposed to do. Hopefully you've seen the agenda on the board and have a plan set up. The main goal today is that you're going to learn a little more about the Constitution and how it's written and how it's set up. So we're starting our Unit 5, which is right here on Moodle. You see a picture of the Constitution there. It's going to be all about the Constitution, this unit, kind of learning how things are set up and what it says. And I want to start with a little bit of a presentation to get you thinking about it before you jump right in. So the Constitution is the document that guides our government and the rules that they have to follow and the rights that you and I and other citizens have. So for instance, debates about something like gay marriage and whether or not that is something that a right that any person should have, or whether it's something that should be denied, is a constitutional question. Obamacare has been something that's been really controversial lately, and that's this idea that should the government be able to require people to buy health insurance. Recently, the State of the Union address was just last week, and President Obama talked about how he vowed to close a prison in Cuba called Guantanamo Bay Prison. Maybe you've heard of before. And what this is, a prison that the United States puts suspected terrorists in that we detain throughout the world, and we keep them there without a trial, and especially because we view them as being dangerous, but maybe there's not enough evidence to have a trial. Some people have been there for as many as 12 or 15 years. I think there are 220 or so right now, and whether or not we can do that, that's a constitutional question. I showed you a video earlier this year about this guy's name is Chris Williams, and he was arrested for growing and distributing marijuana in Montana. Even though it was legal in the state of Montana, it still is illegal in our country, according to our national government. It's a constitutional question. Speech rights for students, just what you can say and what you can wear at Southview. Your privacy rights as a student. Like what can Southview or teachers or principals search? Can we search your locker? Can we search your bag? Those are all constitutional questions, and they're all interesting things that we'll talk about this year, the rest of this year. But you can't really understand any of it if you don't know how the Constitution is set up and where to find things. So real quick about that, the Constitution is set up where there are articles, and then within articles there are sections, and then within sections there are clauses. So for instance, there are 7 articles in the Constitution. Article 1 is about the legislative branch, Article 2 is the executive, Article 3 is the judicial branch, and then there are a few others that you'll learn about today. And within each of those there are different sections and different clauses. So what you're going to do right now is do a scavenger hunt where you're just going to be looking and finding things in the Constitution and learning a little bit more about that. So I'm going to go back to our Moodle page and click on Unit 5 and go to Homework, and you'll see here that so this is the video that you're watching. You've got a few resources that you can use. There should be a book on your table right now where you can go to the Constitution. It's on page 726, and you could use a paper copy if you'd like. If you are at home and you're working on this, or you want to use a digital copy, right here this top link says the Constitution, and it pulls up a Google Doc that I made for you. It's linked so you can jump to any article that you want to. You can also scroll on your own, so you'll notice here is something called the preamble, which is the introduction to the Constitution. Here's Article 1, Section 1. If I scroll down a little bit more, you're going to see Article 1, Section 2 and Clause 1. And you see there's a little bit of blue here, which is kind of a commentary that gives you a little bit more information about it, but that's not part of the Constitution. Here's Article 1, Section 2, Clause 2. So you get the idea of how it might be set up. This is a 26-page document, right? So it's longer because we've got this commentary, this blue stuff in here, but you're going to look through not all of this, and I don't expect you to memorize it, but you're going to be looking through much of it. If this is a little bit heavy for you, you can always try this Constitution in plain English. Again, it's still set up with articles, sections, and clauses, but as you scroll through here, you'll see that it's in kind of more basic language that might be a little easier for you to understand. So that's an option. So what you're going to be doing with these is this scavenger hunt, where I want you to make a copy. This is due next class, so you should be working on it diligently today. If you get done with this, then you should work on some service research some more. Keep yourself busy. But this should take most of the hour, I think. Work together if you want to, but each person should have their own document that they complete. And at the end of it, you should have a lot better understanding of how the Constitution is set up and some of the key things in there. So I hope it goes well. Have a good day. Make sure you work hard, pay attention, and then after I say next class on Wednesday, we'll go over this and start to talk about some really interesting questions that exist